We'll be simulating 100 days in Biosyn Valley to see which creatures come out on top as the surviving populations. We start on day 1, hour 0, as the chaos unfolds in Malta. However, it has come to a close and the dinosaurs are being rounded up at the extraction point, ready for future transportation. However, another crisis is on hand as the locusts are moving around, ready to take over the world. Hour 1, we see ourselves finally in Biosyn Valley, atop a peaceful setting with pterosaurs and sauropods underneath, moving onwards to what is to come. Off in the distance, there is a Giganotosaurus getting its teeth cleaned by a tiny little Morris Intrepidus. However, it hears something off in the distance. That is the arrival of Rexy the T-Rex. Giganotosaurus, however, is not going to let this slide, as it is the ruler of Biosyn Valley and will not let another apex predator into its territory without a competition. Giganotosaurus puts Rexy in her place, and Rexy is going to have to find a way to climb back up to the top of the food chain. By hour 2, Giganotosaurus is hungry for an actual meal instead of just taunting its foes, decides to go after a Parasaurolophus and scares off the Dilophosauruses who are looking for a meal. They're going to have to move on to find more desperate measures. They take on armored creatures, which is not such a smart idea. They go for an Ankylosaurus, does not work. Then they decide to take on a blind Therizinosaurus. Can't be hard, it's blind, right? Except for the fact it is highly territorial, with claws that would easily pierce Dilophosaurus. It raises its claws and Dilophosaurus is gone. By hour 4, Rexy is hungry and is looking for a ceratopsian meal. It jumps on a Pachyrhinosaurus. However, its friend ceratopsians are there to defend it, and unfortunately this time for Rexy, she does not get her meal. She finds that this place is a much tougher environment than Isla Nubla ever was. Dreadnoughtuses, off in the distance, however, are the perfect meal for Giganotosaurus. It takes them down, and Giganotosaurus is just feasting on this valley, becoming the top predator, letting everything in the food chain know not to mess with the Giganotosaurus. Elsewhere, humans have entered the valley, and Therizinosaurus has noticed. It chases them away. However, thankfully it is blind, because if it wasn't blind, it probably would have spotted the humans and they wouldn't have gone away. Therizinosaurus decides to move on. However, Rexy rematches with the Giganotosaurus, and this time Rexy takes the crown and beats the Giganotosaurus. By hour 5, the pterosaurs are becoming unsettled as they sense a problem off in the distance. A certain fire starts to burn, things get a bit brighter. Giganotosaurus once again comes up to Rexy, who has a meal in her mouth, catches her distracted, and decides to take on Rexy as it wants that meal for itself. It does not want Rexy to get the food, as it wants to be the strongest in the valley. Giganotosaurus eats up and prepares for what's to come. By hour 6, locusts have escaped into the valley on fire as Dodgson is trying to destroy the evidence, and dinosaurs migrate their way to the valley center. By hour 7, they're very close to the center of Biosyn Valley, where they will be protected from the fire. The Therizinosaurus moves onward, along with many other herbivore and carnivore creatures, moving towards the valley. But it is a tight spot, and top predators become too confined to the point where they are forced to end the Giganotosaurus. The humans, however, take this as a distraction to escape the valley. However, now that all the gates are opened and the fires are done, Atrociraptors have been set loose into the valley and have been found by Rexy, who thinks she can take them on as she is very hungry. But these Atrociraptors just outnumber Rexy by too much. Fortunately, another pair of Tyrannosaurs show up, the Buck and Doe T-Rex. They help Rexy take down the 7 Atrociraptors, and these Atrociraptors are no match for the T-Rexes. They easily take them all down, and the valley is freed from controlled predators. By day 2, Buck and Doe go off to find someone special for Rexy, as Rexy decides that maybe it's time to go on a proper hunt, as Rexy is very hungry. And off in the distance, Junior, the T-Rex, is also in the valley, and Buck and Doe go to collect him. Rexy, however, spots a herd of parasaurs and decides these will make the perfect meal. It spots a juvenile parasaur up the back and takes that one on, as it is the weakest. The other parasaurs decide to run along. Rexy decides to take this para down to the river, where she can also get a nice drink. The paras alert other hadrosaurs and stegosaurs to move onwards, as the T-Rex is within their area. Rexy decides to have a drink, and not far off, the other T-Rexes are on their way to greet Rexy. Rexy moves towards them, and Buck decides to introduce Junior to Rexy. Rexy, for the first time, sees a potential mate, and they are both very excited and roar at each other. Off further away, Doe is up the mountain, in which Buck leads the other T-Rexes there, and they know that nothing is out competing them in the valley, as 4 T-Rexes can take on anything with no trouble. Doesn't matter what creature you are, you can have plates on your back, spikes on your tail, you are no match for 4 Tyrannosaurs. These T-Rexes look upon the valley and they roar, knowing that they now own this new kingdom, which has been renamed from Biosyn Valley to Sanctuary. By day 5, all the locusts are being cleaned up by medium-sized carnivores within the valley, and the locust problem ceases to exist by day 5, as all the carnivores were hungry and had their meals of insects. By day 10, creatures stuck within the caves, the amber caves, have escaped. The Dimetrodons, the Dilophosaurs, they finally made their way out, and they are hungry, so they take on some easy meals of compies and take them down. They have a good feast, and these creatures are free to just be out within the valley. Will the Dimetrodons adapt, as they've been in the cave so long? We'll have to see. By day 20, the pterosaurs are starting to settle in now that the entire locust problem is gone. They rest upon the trees, and all the creatures of pterosaurs from around the world have been relocated to Biosyn Valley. No more Quetzal nests up on roofs. It's all fine. And other small creatures, such as Microstratus, have been integrated into the valley. By day 30, creatures from Malta have made their way into the valley by being transported there, such as Molophosaurus, Atrociraptors, Gallimimus, Allosaurus Carnotaurus, and Morus Intrepidus. And of course, the Allos and Carnos are going to be a bit of trouble. But by day 40, T-Rexes try to take on some Ankylosauruses, but considering an Ankylosaurus can crush a T-Rex's bone, best not to engage. By day 50, creatures of Manticorp Island have been introduced to the valley, and we have our first hybrid within Sanctuary, the Spinoceratops, hybrid of Sinoceratops and Spinosaurus, which has also now been introduced to the valley from Manticorp, along with other Tyrannosaurs. You do not want to mess with the Spinosaurus. Along with that, some other Abelisaurs have been introduced, and a Carnotaurus named Toro is now within the valley. By day 60, Spinosaurus is a ruthless predator that will even sometimes kill for sport just to assert dominance within the valley. It takes out Brachiosauruses, Stygimolochs, you name it. Anything within the valley is on the menu for Spinosaurus, including this poor Iguanodon. This Spinosaurus is ruining the food chain of the Sanctuary, and by day 70, the T-Rexes notice the decrease in food and decide to split up, as they're angry at each other. They can no longer be together, as they require too much food together, and they're too angry, so they decide they're better off in pairs. However, the Spinosaurus, the T-Rex killer, is watching the T-Rexes closely. It knows it can't take on 4 T-Rexes, but a single T-Rex, Spinosaurus is more than happy to take on. Rexy is a bit agitated and scares off Junior, who decides to go alone, which was not a good idea at all, as Spinosaurus decides to take on Junior, asserting dominance over the T-Rexes, alerting a signal that not even the T-Rexes, who were once the top of the chain in the sanctuary, are safe now. By day 80, Spinosaurus finds a lone Rexy. Rexy, although in a somewhat certain state that is not good for her, she's a bit agitated, something's going on with her, she decides to square up against the Spinosaurus. Other Tyrannosaurs make their way in, and the Buck and Doe are here for vengeance with Junior. They will get back at the Spinosaurus for what they did to Junior. And Rexy goes in first, strikes Buck next, Doe as well. By day 90, this is the end of the line for Rexy. However, her legacy does not end here, and neither does Junior's. Rexy is ready to move on. She's lived a long, good life. However, she has brought with her Rexy Jr., the new heir to Sanctuary. The dinosaurs celebrate, and all looks to be well within the future, at least for now, because by day 100, the climate starts to shift. Which creatures will adapt, which creatures won't? Watch up above, and I'll see you later. Bye, everyone.